Men lose everything: money, years, even their self respect. Not because they loved, but because they loved blind. They didn't see the hidden moves. They didn't recognize the unspoken rules. They ignored the instincts women never talk about. And that blindness is why breakups feel like ambushes, why divorce feels like betrayal, why so many men walk away asking themselves, what just happened? The truth is simple. These aren't random events. They're predictable, if you know what to look for. Stay with me, because I'm about to reveal 5 secrets women don't want men to know. These insights could save you from mistakes that millions of men have already paid for. The fairness illusion. Most men walk into relationships believing in fairness. They think, if I give love, loyalty, and effort, I'll naturally receive the same in return. It's a comforting belief. It feels logical. But here's the brutal reality. Women don't operate by that system. They're not evil for it. They're not wrong for it. But they are wired differently. For women, attraction and commitment aren't about reciprocity or balance. They're about survival instincts that stretch back thousands of years. Who provides the strongest protection? Who secures the best future? Who offers the greatest advantage? That's the game women play, often without even realizing it. It's not a written plan. It's a subconscious program running beneath the surface. And because men expect fairness, they miss what's actually happening in front of them. That's why so many men get blindsided. They look for signs of justice while she's operating on strategy. They believe in loyalty points, building emotional credit, depositing love and sacrifice as if it earns a permanent bond. But she isn't keeping score. She's responding to biology, opportunity, and instinct. And here's the brutal truth. If you don't understand these rules, you're not even playing the same game. You can invest for years, only to wake up one day and realize the rules you believed in never existed for her. The way forward. The answer isn't paranoia. The answer is awareness. Stop listening only to words. Watch actions. Watch consistency. Understand the patterns. When you see reality clearly, you stop being the man who gets blindsided. You become the man who's always 2 steps ahead. Secret number 1, monkey branching. This one hurts the most because it feels deeply unfair. Monkey branching is the idea that many women rarely let go of one relationship without having another branch already in reach. Just like a monkey doesn't release one branch until it has grabbed the next, many women won't leave a man unless another option is already waiting. How it plays out. She tells you, I need space. I'm confused. You believe she's reflecting, figuring herself out. But in reality, there's usually another man already in her orbit. Sometimes she's been talking to him for weeks, sometimes months, and she's simply waiting until she feels secure enough to make the jump. That's why so many men feel shock when a breakup happens. One day she says, it's over. Within days, or even hours, she's in someone else's arms. For you, it feels like an earthquake. For her, it was a carefully timed step she'd been preparing in silence. Why it happens? 2 reasons. 1. Social conditioning. Women are judged harshly for being alone or openly pursuing multiple options, so they protect themselves by ensuring they're never left empty-handed. 2. Biology, security, and continuity matter more than the romance of a clean break. Survival instinct says it's safer to have a backup than to risk the unknown. The emotional punch: men believe there's a grace period after a breakup. Some respectful pause before she moves on. But in truth, transitions often happen much faster than men dare imagine. Sometimes relationships overlap, hidden behind the curtain until she's ready to reveal it. And here's the dangerous part. While lining up her next branch, she may keep you on a string with the classic let's stay friends routine. Not about genuine friendship. It's about keeping you as an emotional safety net, someone she can fall back on if the new option doesn't work. The lesson. If you take only one thing from this, don't let yourself be the backup. When she ends things but still tries to hold on to you just in case, recognize it for what it is: self-preservation on her part, not loyalty or love. Your power comes from clarity, When the branch is released, step back. Don't wait for her to swing back to you, because if she does, it won't be out of devotion. It will be out of convenience. And you deserve far more than being someone's backup plan. Secret number 2. Hypergamy doesn't care about relationship equity. From childhood, men are taught, hard work pays off. If you sacrifice, if you give your best, if you put in the hours, you'll get rewarded. Naturally, men bring this mindset into relationships. They think, if I love her, support her, fix her car, raise her kids, and sacrifice everything I have, surely that secures loyalty. They imagine an emotional bank account. Deposit enough love and effort, and when you need it, you'll be able to make a withdrawal. But here's the brutal reality. That account doesn't exist. How hypergamy works. Hypergamy is the instinct that drives women to seek the best available option. She isn't evaluating your relationship based on all your past sacrifices. She's comparing her current situation to what else might be out there. If she perceives a better deal, your years of effort weigh almost nothing. That's why men who bend over backwards are often the ones most blindsided. They believe loyalty is secured by investment. But investment only matters if she still sees you as her best option. The moment she doesn't, years of sacrifice evaporate instantly. The emotional punch. You could spend a lifetime building, but she can walk away in a single heartbeat. And it won't be about fairness. It won't be about what you deserve. Hypergamy is not cruel, it's indifferent. It doesn't operate on fairness. It operates on perceived value. The trap men fall into men who don't understand this cling to the illusion of security. They double down. They give more. They sacrifice more, hoping that if they just love harder, she'll stay. But here's the paradox. The more they give, the more invisible they become. Because it's not about how much you give. It's about whether she still feels you're her best possible choice. The way forward. Stop being the banker in a game that doesn't honor your deposits. Invest in yourself. Build your strength. Build your confidence. Build your independence. A man who understands hypergamy doesn't resent women for it. He adapts. He makes sure he is constantly leveling up. Not for her, but for himself. Because when you live as a man of value, you're not begging for loyalty with effort. You're commanding loyalty with presence. And that shift changes everything. It pulls you out of desperation. It puts you back in control. 1. Monkey branching. Most women rarely let go of one man until another is ready. 2. Hypergamy. Loyalty doesn't run on fairness. It runs on perceived value. If those shook you, the next 3 will hit even harder. Because the deeper we go, the more you'll see why so many men wake up blindsided, wondering how everything they built could collapse so quickly. Secret number 3. Women spin. More plates than men realize. When men date casually, it's usually out in the open. They'll tell their friends, "Yeah, I'm seeing a few women." And society often criticizes them for it. But when women do the same thing, it usually happens under the radar. They don't announce it, they don't showcase it, and they certainly don't tell the man they're currently dating. The reality of plate spinning. Here's the truth most men ignore. Many women manage multiple options at the same time. Some options are romantic. Some are emotional. Some are just in case. She might not even label it as spinning plates, but the behavior speaks for itself. She texts one man while planning dinner with another. She keeps another man hanging with just enough attention to stay interested. I once heard a story of a guy who noticed his girlfriend's contact list. He saw names saved like Dave, lawyer, Chris, contractor, Philip, accountant. These weren't harmless notes. They were a way of tracking who brought what to the table. To her, each man wasn't just a name. He was a role, a resource, or a backup plan. Why you don't notice most men are blindsided because they take her words at face value. She says, "I'm not really seeing anyone else." And you believe it. Meanwhile, you could be just one of several men orbiting her at the same time. For her, plate spinning isn't betrayal. It's insurance. Why? Because openly admitting multiple options can bring judgment. So instead, she does it quietly. but the instinct behind it is pure survival. Having more than one option lowers the chance of ending up with nothing. The emotional punch. Here's where men get crushed. While you're investing in her as if she's the only woman in your world, she might be evaluating you against others in hers. And if you're not the smoothest plate, the most stable plate, or the most exciting plate, she may let you drop without hesitation. The lesson. Don't assume exclusivity, not until it's explicitly agreed upon and proven by consistent actions over time. Don't confuse attention with commitment. Pay attention to the signals. Does her availability fluctuate? Does she disappear for stretches? Do her stories shift depending on the day? Those aren't accidents. They're signs. The point isn't to demonize women. It's to wake men up. Because once you see the reality, you stop over-investing in someone who hasn't made you a priority. Your value isn't measured by how well you compete for a spot in her rotation. Your value comes from knowing you don't need to compete at all. Secret? For 4. Women get bored faster than men. This one destroys more marriages and long-term relationships than almost anything else. Men and women don't experience comfort the same way. For men, comfort feels like success. He thinks, we've built a life. We've got our rhythm. This is good. But for women, that same rhythm can quickly turn into monotony. The statistics don't lie. Look at the data. In marriages and long-term partnerships, women initiate around 70% of breakups and divorces. Why? Because while men's desire tends to fade gradually, women's desire often plummets right after the honeymoon phase. The emotional drift picture. The timeline. You're 5 years in. Things aren't perfect, but you still feel content. She's 5 years in, and she's already daydreaming about what's missing. That's why so many men hear the dreaded line, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore." It's not that something catastrophic happened. It's that her emotional and physical interest drained much faster than yours. For you, routine feels safe. For her, routine becomes a cage. By the time you notice the problem, she may already be mentally checked out, planning her exit, or quietly seeking stimulation elsewhere. Why it happens? It's not about women being bad. It's about biology and psychology. Women evolved to seek novelty and stimulation to keep pair bonds fresh. Comfort without excitement triggers a sense of being trapped. And here's the hard truth. Too many men lose their edge after commitment. They stop growing. They stop flirting. They stop challenging her to stay invested. They assume stability equals permanence. But for women, stability without excitement equals decline. The lesson. You can't rely on comfort alone to hold a relationship together. You must continue to cultivate attraction, keep the spark alive, novelty, introduce change and surprise, growth, stay ambitious and evolving. That doesn't mean living in fear of her leaving. It means refusing to stagnate. Stay curious, stay playful, stay unpredictable in the best way. Because when you stop evolving, she stops feeling alive with you. And remember, just because you're satisfied doesn't mean she is. The pace of boredom is different for men and women. If you ignore that, you risk being left behind. Secret number 5. Women cheat as much as men, but they hide it better. This one may be the hardest pill to swallow. Society has drilled a narrative into men. Men are the cheaters. Women are the victims. But research and real-world experience show otherwise. Women cheat at almost the same rate as men. The difference? Men are sloppy. Women are strategic. How women cheat. When men cheat, they're often impulsive, careless, even proud. When women cheat, they're quiet, discreet, and calculated. They rarely do it recklessly. They do it during specific windows, when they feel emotionally neglected, when they're disconnected from their partner, when their biology craves novelty and excitement. At those moments, their risk of crossing the line skyrockets. Why men don't see it. Here's what makes it brutal. She might not change her schedule. She might not seem distant. She might still say, "I love you." To you, life feels normal. But secretly, she's living a double life. And when you tell yourself, "She'd never do that," You blind yourself to reality. Biology doesn't grant exceptions just because you think your bond is special. The emotional punch. Even the woman you trust most is still human, still wired with instincts, still capable of crossing the line under the right conditions. And those instincts don't vanish because you're a good man. The worst mistake men make the worst reaction is paranoia, trying to cage her, monitoring every move, suffocating her freedom. That guarantees resentment and distance. The real answer. Don't try to control her. Become the kind of man she doesn't want to risk losing. That means living a life so full of purpose and direction that she'd be a fool to jeopardize it. Cultivate strength, build presence, stay ambitious. When you're grounded in your own power, temptation loses its grip, because she knows leaving you would mean losing far more than she could ever gain. Wrapping it all together. Now you've seen all 5 truths. 1. Women rarely leave without another branch ready. 2. They don't measure loyalty by sacrifice, but by whether you're still their best option. 3. They often keep multiple plates spinning, no matter how convinced you are that you're the only one. 4. They get bored with routine faster than men, which is why most divorces are initiated by them. 5. And yes, they cheat just as much as men, though they're far better at hiding it. The final shift. These aren't accusations, they're realities. Women aren't villains, they're humans wired with instincts, strategies, and survival mechanisms. The problem isn't that women operate this way. The problem is that too many men stay blind to it. They cling to illusions of fairness, reciprocity, and permanence, only to be crushed when reality doesn't match the fantasy. But awareness changes everything. An awake man doesn't become paranoid. He becomes clear. He doesn't cage his partner with suspicion. He strengthens himself with presence and purpose. When you understand the rules, you're no longer a pawn. You become the man who can't be played, because you see the board for what it really is. And here's the emotional turning point. Being awake doesn't make you bitter. It makes you free. Free to choose better. Free to walk away from manipulation. Free to build a life where you are the prize, not the backup plan. Remember this. An awake man isn't the one who doubts women. He's the one who understands them. We've already uncovered 4 brutal truths. The fairness illusion. Monkey branching. Hypergamy's indifference. The way women test without remorse. Now we arrive at the final piece, the one that locks everything into place. Because if you miss this last truth, none of the others will save you. Secret number 5. Women are attracted to frames, not feelings. This is the hardest pill for most men to swallow. We're raised to believe love is about sharing feelings. That if you're vulnerable, open, and endlessly expressive, you'll be valued more deeply. But here's the brutal reality. Women are not attracted to your emotions. They are attracted to the frame you hold while experiencing them. What does that mean? Think of a frame like the invisible boundaries of a picture. The frame doesn't change the image itself. It changes how the image is perceived. A man without a frame is like a picture with no edges. He spills everywhere. He drowns her in raw emotion, in endless need for reassurance, in waves of insecurity. And she doesn't admire him for being real. She loses respect. Because to her instincts, a man who cannot hold his own emotions cannot hold her. Why frames matter? From biology to psychology, women are wired to look for stability. Can this man steady the storm? Can he remain grounded when things get difficult? Can he carry both himself and me through chaos? That's why confidence, calmness, and leadership are magnetic. Not because women wrote it in a magazine, but because for thousands of years survival depended on it. A man who panicked, collapsed, or begged during hardship wasn't just unattractive, he was dangerous to follow. And even in the modern world, those instincts remain. How men fail here. Most men reveal too much, too soon, in the wrong way. They vent every insecurity. They cry in moments that require leadership. They expect her to soothe them like a mother instead of respecting them like a man. and then they're shocked when she pulls away. But it's not the feelings themselves that push her away. It's the lack of frame. A man can cry, but he must cry from strength, not collapse. A man can share, but he must share with control, not desperation. The difference is invisible to most men, but to women, it's everything. Frame in action. Imagine two men lose their job. Man A breaks down, panics, spirals into self-pity. He demands comfort from her, begs her to reassure him. Man B admits it's tough, maybe even sheds a tear, but says, "I'll find a way. This is a setback, not the end. Watch me." Both men had the same feelings. Only one held a frame. Guess who she'll stay attracted to? The emotional punch. Without frame, love dies. With frame, respect grows, even in struggle. Because women don't fall in love with your vulnerability. They fall in love with the strength that contains it. Tying it all together. Let's rewind. Monkey branching taught you she won't always leave cleanly. She'll line up her next move. Hypergamy showed you your sacrifices don't secure her loyalty. Value does. Tests revealed she'll push buttons to measure your strength. Frames now explain why emotions aren't enough. Strength of presence matters more than words. When you connect these truths, the entire game shifts. You stop walking blind. You stop losing years. You stop being the man who always gets played. Instead, you become the man women can't easily replace. Because you live in truth, not illusion. What this means for you. From now on, remember, don't believe in fairness. Believe in reality. Don't cling to her words. Watch her patterns. Don't invest blindly. Build yourself relentlessly. Don't collapse under pressure. Lead with frame. When you do this, everything changes. She no longer tests you endlessly because she respects your strength. She no longer treats you as disposable because you're always leveling up. She no longer blindsides you because you've trained your eyes to see the moves before they happen. Final word. Most men never learn these truths until it's too late. They wake up in broken marriages, empty bank accounts, or decades of regret. But you're ahead of the curve. You've unlocked the code. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. Now the choice is yours. Stay blind, hoping love will save you, or step into clarity, and never again hand over your power. The men who win in relationships aren't the richest. They aren't the best looking. They aren't the smoothest talkers. They're the men who see reality clearly and act with strength inside it. And now you have that vision.